This past weekend, I sat on my motorcycle at 6 a.m., heading to Tennessee to preach at Claybo's campground. Now, first, I do want to point out that it was pretty cold. It was certainly dark, and it was quite foggy on this early fall day. Now, I rode through eastern Kentucky into Virginia and then on into Tennessee. As I hit the Virginia border, the sun started to peek over the mountaintops and warm me up just a little bit. But then, inevitably, I would drop down into a valley and back into the cold and the darkness. This happened several times until the sun was finally high enough to touch everything around me with a bit of that light and warmth. And this sort of made me think about how this transition from darkness into light mirrors our own spiritual journeys. Just as we need to be vigilant and prepared on our rides, we also need to be aware of the spiritual realities that surround us. And this is the judgment. The light has come into the world, and people loved the darkness rather than the light because their works were evil. Imagine riding through the fog. That dense fog represents the confusion and obscurity that sin brings into our lives. Now, just as that fog can obscure our vision and make navigation hazardous, sin can cloud our judgment and lead us astray. Paul summarizes this rather succinctly in the book of Romans with a verse that many of us already know. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. In the same way that we rely on our headlights and fog lights to pierce through the darkness, we need to turn to God's light to see clearly and to avoid the dangers of a spiritual fog that keeps us from focusing on Christ. Sin often entices us with these temporary pleasures, hiding its true consequences. Recognizing sin requires us to confront the darkness within and to seek the clarity that only God's light can provide. Again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Kind of makes me think of riding through a long, dark tunnel, which I've done a couple of times. And sometimes I have felt this great relief as I enter back into the sunlight. This transition mirrors the experience of finding redemption through Jesus Christ. Just as the sunlight brings warmth and visibility, Christ's light illuminates our path, often offering us forgiveness and guidance. When we ride towards the light, we're freed from the shadowy uncertainties of sin and embrace the clarity and warmth of salvation. But if we walk in the light, as He is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, His Son, cleanses us from all sin. Sanctification is not just a one-time event, but it's an ongoing journey. As we follow Christ, we continually move from darkness into light, experiencing growth and transformation. We should embrace this journey with the same anticipation and excitement that we feel when we hit the open road. For at one time you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. Think about how your bike's headlights help you see the road, but they also make you visible to others. Similarly, living in the light of Christ does not only benefit us, it also reflects His glory to those around us. Just as you navigate through the changing conditions on your ride, living in the light involves navigating life's challenges with integrity and with faith, shining as an example to others. Our journey in the light is a continuous process of growing, learning, and shining. As we walk in the light of Christ, we become beacons of hope and truth, guiding others on their own spiritual journeys. Now, motorcycling teaches us a lot. It teaches us about vigilance, preparation, and resilience. In our spiritual lives, these lessons translate into a much deeper understanding of sin, salvation, and the importance of walking in the light. As we ride, we should let each journey be a reminder of God's guidance, His light that dispels darkness, and the joy of living in His truth. That you may be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world.